To whom do the coats belong?
It's Season 1, Episode 7 of Pluribus, entitled The Gap. Let's dive in. The Hive's grating voicemail no longer seems to bother Carol. The recording plays while she peruses a convenience store. A pointless lottery win leads to the saddest hooray in history. All signs point towards Carol convincing herself that she's all okay. She pushes down her rage, her sadness, and her feelings of isolation, all while forcing false happiness to rise to the surface. She fills the silence around her with humming and singing.
Sweet song.
But even her song choices reflect her false state of happiness.
And I feel...
It's the end of the world, and Carol feels ein or upped. Carol refuels her car at the Red Rocks gas station, and she asks for a red Gatorade from the Hive. We're seeing a whole bunch of red here. In this particular set of scenes, I associate the color red with Carol's anger. Carol has always been filled with rage against the Hive. In the episodes prior, this rage acted almost like her fuel for her mission to undo the joining. But now, this red, raging fuel has lost its bite. Like the Gatorade, the red that fuels Carol is now lukewarm and tepid.
I didn't say tepid. I didn't say lukewarm.
Her rage and resolve deflated and defanged by isolation. Even her snarky remarks against the Hive have lost their edge.
I can't be held responsible for the biblically mood in which I will no doubt find myself. Do better next time.
In Carol's current deflated state, her ways of lashing out have replaced rage with petulance. Tepid, lukewarm petulance. The Pluribus trailer claims that happiness is a state of mind, and Carol is willfully choosing to change the state of hers, deluding herself that she's okay, that the world is fine and that her rage is contained. Deluding herself that, despite her isolation, she's happy. Later, Carol sets off her first round of happy fireworks in this episode, all while singing to herself. It's as though the silence around her is an unwelcome reminder of the falsehood that she's adopting, so she wants to drown out the silence with fireworks and singing. As she sings, we hear howling in the distance, wolves responding to her call. The scavenger and pack-oriented nature of wolves mirror the Hive's characteristics. Like a pack of wolves, the Hive operates as a powerful unit that scavenges for corpses. Carol howls back, pushing even the wolves away. A smug smile and a sip of beer betrays the sadness roiling inside her. Once again, she is alone. Later, Carol switches her belladonna print with the actual painting, replacing a duplicate with its authentic counterpart. Is this meant to be some kind of thematic compensation, like a way to balance the emotional scales? Because Carol's facade does the exact opposite of this. She replaces her false belladonna with the real one, but she pushes down her true emotional turmoil and puts on a false facade. There's a lot of flip-flopping happening with Carol's authenticity. Before the joining, she puts on a professional and respectful front to the world, but expresses her true thoughts in private.
Depends. You a big fan of mindless crap?
And then the joining happens, forcing Carol to U-turn on authenticity.
You are traitors to the human race!
Her authentic thoughts come to the forefront as she lashes out in grief and anger. All the polite pretenses are gone. Her acerbic demeanor becomes a weapon against the Hive. And then now, the gravity of grief and isolation becomes too much for her to bear, and authenticity flies out the window again. Only now, the facade that she puts up is not for the world. The lie of happiness is for herself, a shield to protect herself from the pangs of loneliness. In her dinner scene, Carol chows down memory lane, and she summons artifacts from the old world, dishes from key moments in her life with Helen that brought her joy. These dishes bring wide smiles to her face. But, borrowing from one of my favorite shows, nostalgia is the pain from an old wound. It takes us to a place where we ache to go again. To a place where we know we are loved. I Will Survive is Carol's choice on the automated piano. And yes, Carol will survive. But surviving is not the same thing as living. Manousos is an honorable man, and the show explicitly shows us his moral code: thou shalt not steal. We saw it when he leaves notes apologizing and promising reimbursements for having to break into his clients' storage units. We saw it when he siphons gas out of other cars, where he leaves money behind. In a town where he can sleep in any house, he chooses to sleep in a church, because churches are sanctuaries that are open to the public, whereas breaking and entering into someone's home goes against his ideals. Even his English lessons tackle the idea of ownership.
To whom do the coats belong?
Just a side note, I love that he's using whom instead of who. Anyways, he most strongly voices his moral code on ownership when he reached the mouth of the Darien Gap. The Hive attempts to stop his journey, offering to fly him to Albuquerque instead.
No pueden darme nada, porque todo lo que ustedes tienen es robado.
The world is big, according to his English lessons.
El mundo es grande. The world is big.
And now the entire world is under the palms of the Hive. But the Hive can give Manousos nothing, because they own nothing. Everything that they have is stolen. These words ring even truer when we consider his South American background and the imperialist history that informs his ideals. To further strengthen his point, he burns his car, one of his most prized possessions. A statement showing how willing he is to give up his own ownership to take the world back from the Hive. Earlier in his journey, a Hive member drives alongside Manousos as he walks along a stretch of road, and he tempts Manousos with water and a ride up the road. Manousos does not acknowledge him. Look up and wave at the big blue sky should you need help, the Hive member tells Manousos. Wave at the sky if you have any requests. Pray to God for help. The journey that Manousos goes through is imbued with religious imagery. He sleeps in a church. His car is equipped with religious iconography. He catches fish. The Hive discovered him 33 hours post-joining, and Jesus is commonly believed to have been crucified at 33. Manousos even arises from his tomb and gets his own version of crucifixion via the chunga palms. What does this all amount to? I have no idea. I think it's too early to tell, and I'm also less interested in theorizing about future events. The imagery around him paint him as a sort of Jesus figure, albeit anachronistically. But maybe they'll pull the rug from under us and turn him into some kind of Antichrist figure. Again, I don't know. I think it's too early to tell, and we shall see in the next seasons or so. I do want to go over the temptations that Manousos encounters. Let's talk temptation of Christ. The TLDR is that Jesus fasted for 40 days and was tempted by the devil 3 different times. This roughly matches the duration of Manousos' journey and the temptations that he encounters. The first temptation happens at the very beginning of his journey, where his mother approaches him and asks what she can do for him. And he responded with lashing remarks about who his mother is to him. The second temptation comes from the scene that I previously mentioned, where the driver offers him water and a ride up the road, something that Manousos chooses not to entertain. And the final and third temptation comes at the mouth of the Darien. The Hive warns Manousos of the dangers of the gap and offers to fly him and his car to Albuquerque. Again, Manousos was not tempted. When he hikes through the gap, he repeats his name and his mission like a mantra.
My name is Manousos Oviedo.
I am not one of them.
I wish to save the world.
The Hive can't take away his identity and his resolve. That ownership belongs to him and him alone, and it fuels him towards Carol. Unfortunately, his crucifixion via the chunga palm renders him unfit to continue, and we see divine intervention take its place. Even the concept of God was stolen by the Hive. Does Manousos wave at the sky to confirm his acceptance of the Hive's help? I tend to lean towards the idea that he doesn't do that. He was merely putting his hands up to barricade the sun and the gusts around him. But I think it's meant to be ambiguous. Regardless, the big blue sky and the godly entity that now governs it sends down blessings to save Manousos' life, with or without his consent. We go back to Carol golfing at a parkade, 48 days post-joining, a month of isolation for Carol. Her golf balls crash into high-rise windows. One lands in an office that curiously has a framed wedding photo. Marriage is a typical milestone for happiness. Earlier in the episode, Carol hijacked a Rolls-Royce meant for newlyweds, and now she launches golf balls directly into the idea of marriage. Her delusion of happiness has collapsed. The leisurely activities Carol occupied herself with are no longer enough to maintain the lie. In her month of isolation, the lonesomeness has caught up, and like the state of the high-rise windows, the lie of happiness has now shattered. She doesn't even have the energy to keep singing to herself to fill the silence. Her constant humming and singing has now been replaced by booyah jams. Then we find Carol at night, sitting in her cul-de-sac surrounded by a circle of fireworks. She ignites them, and lights flash in the sky, painting the shots with hues of greens, reds, and blues. The fireworks scene reads to me as an inversion of her ice hotel scene with Helen back in Season 1 Episode 3, Grenade. In the ice hotel scene, Carol receives news that Waikaro is a bestseller. But even with this good news, she sours the situation. She wants to know whether the novel ranking is up to her standards, and she constantly complains about the frigid accommodation that she willingly booked. But in this previous life, she had Helen to rebalance her. Helen reels Carol back from her self-destructive ways, and together they watch the northern lights paint the sky with beautiful colors. In this moment, Carol was shaping a happy moment into something unpleasant. The fireworks scene functions in the opposite direction. Carol has no one. No Helen, no Zosha, no other immune people, no hive mind. She has no one to share her life with, and her delusions of happiness no longer work. We see the sky burst with color like they did with the northern lights. Only this time, Carol has nothing but herself and her broken delusion. Her broken delusion of shaping a depressing life into a happy one. And the beauty of the fireworks contrasts against the empty, nihilistic gaze in Carol's eyes. This comes to a head when Carol stares down the barrel of death. A tube of fireworks topples and points towards her direction. Instead of moving, she stares it down, ready to accept whatever fate has in store for her. The fireworks narrowly miss her face, launching into a house behind her instead. And this moment seems to rock something in Carol. Carol and Manousos undergo different journeys in this episode. Carol's journey is more psychological, whereas Manousos goes through a more arduous physical journey. Their journeys may have been different, but both look to reach the same goal. Their respective journeys lead towards human connections. Manousos was inspired by Carol's conspiracy video. There's someone on Earth who shares his goals. And with that inspiration, he unentombs himself and traverses South America to reach the only human on Earth who he can connect with. His journey showcases his self-sufficiency and his headstrong moral code. Throughout his journey, he fills the silence with English lessons. Language acts as another barrier of human connection, and by practicing, he inches closer to bridging that gap. Then he attempts to cross the literal gap, repeatedly uttering his mantra as he trudges towards Carol. He uses fire to cauterize the wounds inflicted upon him by the chunga palm. His journey is physically taxing, but the fire in him is relentless. The only thing that stopped his journey is the physical limitations of his immune system. The events of the last 6 episodes have rendered Carol's fuel tepid and lukewarm. But the fuel in Manousos rages strong. Carol's psychological journey comes as a result of her grief and isolation, a natural response to shield herself from even more pain. After her near-death experience, she puts out the fire caused by the fireworks, a stark contrast to how Manousos sets things ablaze. With white paint, Carol writes a message on her cul-de-sac. She wears a white shirt, as if to say all the color in her life has been drawn out, leaving only the white flag of surrender. She smiles at her authentic belladonna. A month of isolation has battered Carol emotionally. She's done convincing herself that she finds happiness in isolation. And a familiar blue car arrives. Carol falls and breaks down in Zosha's arms. The song that plays during the final scene of the episode and into the credits is a cover of Aquarius. The original version of this song it ends with a chorus exclaiming to let the sunshine in. It's the dawning of the age of Aquarius, and Carol chooses to let the sunshine in. But how warm can the sunshine of the hive really be? Is this a warmth that can heal, or a warmth that can burn? That'll do it for me. Thank you all for listening and watching, and I'll see you all on the next episode. Bye-bye.